good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to my virtual interactive live. And today's virtual interactive live is going to be caregiving. Come on in, guys. Come on in.
Hey, you'll find it really convenient for us if this video's over. It's giving me, I have to redo the schedule. I keep adding on more partners. I redid the schedule twice on the weekend.
Good
It
morning.
keeps coming back and throwing in more.
Good morning.
It keeps coming back and throwing more people in.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello. I was in the wrong place or something. I don't know. I was on a Zoom link somewhere and it wasn't opening, but okay. All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good
It's
morning, everyone. Welcome back to my virtual interactive live. And today's virtual interactive live is going to be caregiving. And the speaker of this morning is going to be Miss Deacon Thais Love. Good morning, Miss Deacon Love. Good morning. How are you?
good morning. I am well. I'm well. Thanks so much for asking. How are you today? You're well. I pray that you're well. Um, Yeah, I'm so excited. We got a lot to kind of cover and 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 go back over. So I want to get right on into it. Okay. Yes, today we're going to be talking about um, caregivers in honor of National Caregivers Month, which is this month. We want to show some love and bring some awareness to our caregivers and those who they care for. Okay. Um, so we are going to talk about that. But before I get into that, I would like to finish off. I had two questions from last week Monday because we ran short on time. Um, it was really good. The questions were really good, and they kept coming. But because we had ran out of time, I couldn't address um, the final two questions. And so I promised to um, address all of your questions from last week on today. So we're going to do that first, and then we'll get into caregiving and all of that. Okay. Um, so the question that I had, one of the questions from last week was, we last week, just to recap your memory, last week Monday we spoke on substance use disorder, and we spoke about how um, the different substances that are listed that actually cause a, um, a reconfiguration of your brain, um, that causes your brain to crave those substances, and then you want to have more and more of those substances, and you begin to, in your behaviors, orient your life around obtaining those substances, and having a constant intake of those substances. And every time you uh, intake those substances, um, your brain reconfigures so that it wants more and more of those substances. And so, and then we discussed how substance use disorder, otherwise known as substance abuse, formerly known as substance abuse, how it's a disorder, and that we have to um, look at it and treat it as such. Okay, and that those of us who um, have family members that are struggling with this disorder, or those of us who are struggling with this disorder, um, how what we can do to uh, get help so that we no longer struggle with that disorder, and that it's a disorder. It is not simply a habit. There is a um, brain reconfiguration, chemical imbalance, all of that happens when you um, intake these particular substances. And I had given out a whole list of the substances that cause this. And some of the things that are on that list are things that substances that we um, commonly use and frequently use, and are not aware that um, using these particular intaking of these particular substances can lead to um, substance use disorder. Okay. And the thing about these substances, and I'm going to call them out um, as soon as I can find my list. The thing about these substances is that you can take them one time, and even after the very first time you've taken those substances, it causes the reconfiguration of the nerve endings in your brain um, to want to crave that substance. Okay, and those substances are. Just want to make sure I have them all here. Okay. I know they're on page. Okay. Those substances are caffeine, so your coffee, even your tea, if it's not horrible. um, amphetamines, um, steroids. The amphetamines, you find that in like your allergy medicines, or sometimes in uh, cold medicines. Um, steroids, steroids, you find those sometime in asthma medicines. Um, the opioids, such as uh, prescribed oxycodone and Percocet, things of that nature. Um, Also, the hallucinogens, um, such as um, heroin, um, LSD, and uh, cannabis in any shape or form. So marijuana, both the actual herb marijuana as well as the cannabis oils and the edible cannabis as well. Those are listed amongst the substances that um, cause the reconfigurations in your brain. Okay, um, nicotine as well, so which is cigarettes, as well as um, tobacco, whether it's smoked or chewed, as we uh, call it down south. Um, snuff, snuff tobacco, where it's chewed. Um, that is also, it contains nicotine in it, just like the cigarettes do. Um, and I think that's all of them. Um, da, 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 da. Oh, and the substances that are in like sleeping pills, um, that those also can cause those disorders. Okay, and so that's the listing um, of um, the different substances. I'm not sure if well narcotics, drugs as well. Um, that was the last one. But those are all listed as um, substances that actually lead to the reconfiguration of your brain and causes you to crave those substances so that you want to get more and more of it, and um, you actually do start to get more of it, and then you get so that the only thing you can do is like you literally shift your day, your activities, so that you can allow for the constant intake of these substances. And these substances, uh, the more every time you uh, intake those substances, alcohol is another one. Sorry. Um, my list. But anyway, alcohol is another one that's listed among those substances. And but every time you intake those substances, you cause that reconfiguration again and again in your brain, which causes your brain to experience pleasure. It sends off a signal to the pleasure control center in your brain, which your brain interprets that as a reward, so you get happy, like as if you're being rewarded, and your brain orients you to seek out getting more and more of that substance. And every single time you take that substance, it happens again and again and again, making that craving that much stronger, making you want to have that much more of that substance. And so it becomes very, very difficult to live life without that substance or those substances. Um, you can't function like you normally do. So that's a brief recap of what we talked about last week, Monday, with the substance misuse disorder. And we talked about how when people are um, struggling and suffering with this particular disorder, uh, it's they it's very, very difficult for them to um, uh, you know, reduce the craving by themselves. They very oftentimes need support, an additional person to get them in front of a doctor that may have to medically help them um, wane off of those substances because of the chemical um, um, imbalance in your brain due to the reconfiguration so many times from that chemical or that substance. The doctor may have to prescribe something for you to first balance out the imbalance in your brain and then treat you further so that you're uh, not uh, sorely dependent on those substances to the point that you can't function. Um, and so, and the doctors that can help you with that are doctors that can prescribe uh, medication. So your psychiatrist, your psychologist, um, certain substance use disorder therapists can prescribe that if that's what it is that you need. Um, it depends on the um, severity of the um, struggle with those substances. Um, but yeah, you would first need to get diagnosed, get evaluated so that you can get diagnosed so that you would know just how far on the spectrum of substance use disorder you are. Okay, so that you would know, you would find out the proper or the most effective means of treatment for you. So, um, and again, it's a spectrum. So, some people may be able to um, get talk therapy and um, you know they can reconfigure their behaviors so that they are not spending their day trying to um, get a hold of those substances. Some people may need additional medications to help them be able to do that. But regardless of where you are on the spectrum, um, you need help in order to um, come off of or ease your dependency on those substances. It's very, very difficult to just put it down quick cold turkey because of the reconfiguration in your brain. So, um, having said that, you know, get help. A lot of times people are not aware that they are suffering with this disorder. They don't, they're not aware, or they may feel like, oh, well, yeah, I like to drink my alcohol, but I can quit anytime. I can quit anytime. And so they um, think that they have control over it when in the actuality is that they don't. And so one of the questions that was asked last week was, what do you do when you um, talk to a family member that is struggling with that and they can't see it in themselves? They are in denial. And how do you How do you get that person help? And what I said a little bit last week was you have to you have to set up an intervention, some kind of way. You have to set up an intervention. Um, Being that the person is not aware or they can't see themselves, so uh, they're not aware of their behaviors, that's displaying the the dependency on those substances. I suggested that perhaps get another person to talk to them, to bring it to their attention, someone that they trust, or they value their opinion. So I said, perhaps the family member is not the best person to talk to them about um, the disorder. Perhaps you can, speak to that person's doctor, their physical doctor, or a doctor that they visit on a regular, where they trust and value that person's opinion. And perhaps the doctor, even if he's not a psychiatrist or anything like that, but perhaps the doctor could bring it to the person's attention, and then that doctor can make the referral, and perhaps that person will then go. Another thing that I had suggested is um, send the person the video, from last week on substance use disorder. Send them the video. Just kind of let them know, look, I want you to watch this, or I'll sit down and maybe we can watch this together. We can. I have this really interesting video that I was watching, and I'd like you to watch it with me. And then watch the video and discuss it, and perhaps the person may see themselves um, in see that they are um, struggling with the substance use disorder, because a lot of people don't even realize that's what it is. They just think, well, I gotta have my morning cup of coffee at least. I have to have my 5 cups. I can't function without it. you know um, and they think it's okay, and it's well, it's coffee, it's not a big deal. Yes, it is. Yes, it very well is a very big deal. um and so um invite them to watch the video, share the video with them, um sit down and watch the video and discuss it, and perhaps they would be more willing to um, get into some kind of intervention action plan. And then lastly, what I said was um, get another person to talk to them. Lastly, what I said is, if they're really in denial, perhaps you can uh, record them um, engaging in some kind of activity that um, is, not appropriate, stemming from their activity, you know, um, after they've ingested the substance. Like when you see the change in their behavior, you can maybe catch them on video before, and then catch them on video during, and then after, and show them, look, this is you. Uh, and perhaps then they won't be able to deny it as readily. Okay. Um, and so hopefully they will then be more willing to enter into some kind of either prevention or a program that would help them to, get relief and no longer struggle with that substance. Okay, so I hope that that answers the question. Um, but unfortunately, very, very often, people who are in denial about their substance use disorder, um, they don't get ahead of it. Um,
I hear ya.
in a timely fashion. They very well continue to ignore it, be in denial about it. Even the family will continue to enable the um, the, uh, the behaviors that are the negative behaviors that are not healthy. And so when that happens, very often the person or even family becomes aware that it's a problem after something detrimental has happened. So if it's, Uncle Butch, he uh, likes to have his drink, his 4 or 5 drinks after happy hour, after work every day, and then he gets in his car and drives home. You know, he doesn't think anything of it until he's in a car accident, or until the police pull him over for and issue him a ticket for DWI or something like that. That's very often how people who are suffering with this disorder, how they find out that, yeah, I have a problem. I need to get some help. Very often they become aware because of the police or the ambulance. And as I said last week, continued uh, continued activities or continued ingestion of these substances eventually leads to medical problems. So very often, people who suffer with this disorder, they wind up, you know, um, suffering strokes, heart attacks, um, um, victims of car accidents, um, um, ODing, or attempting suicide. Um, and so you don't want to allow um, the substance use disorder. You don't want to allow the disorder to continue unchecked, because it does eventually lead to death. And we, you know, we don't want to lose our loved ones um, to a disorder like this, especially when um, it can be remedied or um, even prevented. So, um, so I want to answer that question, and so I hope I answered that question. Another the last question that I had received, and if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll address them while I'm talking about the subject, and then we'll go on to the next subject. So, but the last question that I had received, someone emailed me, and they asked, how can you help someone that is um, that is suffering with this disorder stemming from a painkiller, prescribed painkiller. Um, Again, um, the thing about the opioids and the prescribed substances is that you actually get them from a doctor. You uh, more than likely need the particular medication or substance due to an injury, or it helps, with whatever your condition is. So you actually, you need it. It's not a thing where you readily just choose to, pick it up. You are prescribed, so it's given to you. So, how you can help someone? Well, a one preventive measure is if you are, injured or you got to go to the dentist and they have to prescribe you something, or um, you're experiencing pain,
I was so
you
surprised.
know, for whatever reason, and they have to prescribe you something. Be sure to find out what the doctor wants to prescribe you, because you can say to the doctor, you know, is do you have something else, or you know, you work it out with the doctor where you take that particular prescription only as needed, okay? Um, and then be aware that, every time you take this medication, it does cause that reconfiguration. Someone is trying to call me and I don't understand why. But anyway, so I would try to, discuss with the doctors what um, medication, pain medication, that they want to prescribe for you, and see if they have, um, if they can prescribe it in a lesser um, dosage, or, um, you know, have it so that you can kind of space out your intake of it, something like that. That's a preventive measure, okay? So that you can be aware, your family members can be aware, and kind of help you watch your intake as you take in these substances. That's preventive. But if you already have been prescribed those medications, and you're taking them, and yeah, you find that you um, want to take them more and more, and the doctor is increasing the dosage. Yeah, you would, or your family member needs to have a talk with that doctor, and also to find out where the doctor can refer you to, so that you can begin a action plan to wean off of that substance, so that you won't continue to suffer with that disorder. Okay. um, and so that's what I would suggest. So the first thing is a preventive measure. Before you even get the substance, talk it over with your doctor and see if there's a way where, okay, if I got to take it, okay, I don't want to have to take it that often or in such high dosages. Okay. And so discuss with your doctor what you can and cannot do with regards to that. Um, and then if you um, are past the preventative stage, and you've been prescribed and are taking these medications, then um, discuss with your doctor, or have your family member or someone you trust um, go with you to discuss with your doctor alternative action plan to wean you off of those substances. Okay. And so that's I addressed those two questions from last week. Are there any further questions about substance use disorder or comment?
Okay, Miss Love.
Yes.
Um, Miss Shine said, "What are those kits that are given to families in case their loved one overdoses?"
Oh, yes.
And that would be the last
Very, very
question
good
for that topic.
question. Um, it is called narc. Wait. Uh, yeah, it's I I just had it on the tip of my tongue and I totally forgot. But yes, if you have you have a family member or a friend or a loved one that is um, suffering with that disorder, um, substance use disorder, and they are on narcotic drugs, such as heroin and things of that nature, or um, there is the fire department, your local fire department, does a training where, in case if someone that you know and love ODs, there's a substance that you can inject them with that will save their life. Okay, um, I I cannot think of the name. It starts with an N. Um, but um, I'm gonna see if I can look it up while I'm talking to you, or if someone can look it up right really quickly while I'm talking. But the fire department does a free training, and they give you the kit where and they give it out for free. Where if you come across someone that has OD'd and they're stretched out, you it the kit, they have it where you can inject them with the substance. I cannot remember the uh name of the drug. You can inject them with the substance, and um the substance uh would prevent them from going into cardiac arrest and dying. It also prevents them from going fully unconscious. It will bring them back. Um, and so it comes in a injection form where you would have to um, stab the person in a thigh, or a real a fatty part, and inject the substance so that it can get to it get in the bloodstream right away and save the person's life. Um, Also, it comes in a nasal spray as well. Um, and you can take the training at your local fire department. I just want to get the name of the substance, or you can get the training um, and the kit, the actual kit, and they give them out for free. You can get the training and the kit. Also, I know I'm in Brooklyn, and my borough president, Eric Adams, he has um, at his office, at the borough president's office, they have the training there as well, and they distribute the kits there as well. So if you're in Brooklyn, so I'm sure well, I hope other borough presidents have that readily available. But you also can get the training and the kits. Some hospitals also um, do the training and distribute the kit, so that you are to you are to sign for receipt of that kit. There's substance, you are only to use it when you have found that um, that you found someone that is overdosed, um, and you are to carry that kit around with you. Being uh, whenever I have to be out in the street, a lot of times you find people, in areas where they, openly use these different drugs, and heroin and uh, K2. Um, you find that, that sometimes that they, people are, they have a really bad reaction and they pass out. Um, some of them foam at the mouth and stuff like that. If you are in a situation where you see that happening, um, yeah, if you have that kit on you, um,
Where's that?
you can administer it and um, help save someone's life. Because people who overdose, they don't they don't intentionally. Most people who overdose, they don't intentionally mean to overdose. They just they want to obey that craving and try to get as much of the substance into their body as possible to stop that craving. um and unfortunately they take in too much of the that particular substance, and it causes them to go suffer a heart attack, have a stroke. It almost takes their life. So yeah, I'm trying to pull it up so that I can tell you exactly what it is, so that you can ask to get that training. And I mean, especially if you have loved ones that are abusing certain substances, particularly. Um, it's really good to use that, or at least get that training and have that have that awareness and have that with you. Uh, okay, I think I got it. Wait, let me see. Uh, n- naloxone, naloxone, um, is the wait. I'm trying to see if I have another word for the actual uh, medication, because it is a medication that you're injecting into the person, um, that prevents them from dying. And the kit comes with the particular the not naloxone, um,
That sounds something I can do.
a drug, and it's a one use kit. Well, depending on um, if you have the injection one, or if you have the nasal spray, um, whichever one you have, it's one use per. So if it's the injection, um, depending on how it has, with the needles, depending on how many needles you have, you might have one or two in the kit. Um, and so, but you know, it's one use um, per uh, per needle. So if you have two needles in the kit, um, you take one and you are to inject the person with everything that is in that syringe that one time, and then you discard it. Um, and so each, it's not something that you can, you know, use. Once you used up the the needles in the kit, then you have to go back to the fire department or wherever it is that you're training, and just ask for um, a replacement. So, but yeah, that's naloxone. 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 you want to get the naloxone training, or the it's commonly called the overdose prevention training. So
Oh,
you,
insurance, yeah.
you can call your or go to your local fire department and um, find out when they do that. Um, Even some hospitals have that training, so you can ask there. Um, if you're in Brooklyn, you can go right to your borough president's office, or pull it up. They have a schedule where they have those trainings, and those trainings are free. The kit is free, and you know um, they would like as many people as possible to take the training so that you can help save someone's life. Um, and so, yeah, that's a very, very excellent question and point. Thank you so much, Ms. Chang, for bringing that out. Again, that substance is called naloxone. Um, naloxone. Naloxone. Okay. Otherwise known as the overdose prevention training. Okay. Um, and so, yeah, that would be really, really great if um, you or um, a family member, or, I think at least someone, at least one person in every home should have that training, especially when you know you have friends, loved ones that are suffering with that, with substance use disorder. Very, very good. Thank you so much for that question and comment, Ms. Chang. Are there any other questions or comments?
No more questions, Club.
Okay, okay. All right, very well. Now I'd like to, but if you have any, more questions that, or comments that you'd like to make, feel free to reach out to myself or Miss Cece, and we'll try to address those questions, and point you in the right direction to get help. Okay. Again, if you or someone that you know and love is suffering, or you think that they're suffering with substance use disorder, um, there last week we had put some numbers in the chat where you can call for help. Um, you can feel free to call me even, and I can point you to your local um, place where you can first I can point you where you can go get evaluated, so that you will know whether or not that is what you're suffering with and to what degree. And then I can offer um, some therapy. I am not a psychiatrist or psychologist. I do not prescribe medication. Okay. Um, I am I am a mental health coach, a therapist, and I'm also an energy health practitioner, holistic energy health practitioner. So um, the way I would uh, take you through treatment would be medication, without medication. So, but with substance use disorder, you need to be evaluated by someone, a mental health professional that is licensed to administer medication. They can give you the diagnosis and let you know where you fit on the spectrum, so that if you need medication to help um, correct the or balance out the chemical imbalances in your brain, stemming from that disorder, then that person is, equipped and licensed to do so. If you don't need the prescription to help with that, then you could see someone like myself, where we can, you know, give you treatment that doesn't require medications, um, to balance that out. And so, we can do talk therapy, we can do different things, where there's not medication is not involved. Okay. Um, and that's where I would come in. So, but feel free to reach out to me and let me know how I can assist you. Okay. So, all right, that was substance use disorder. That was last week. So we're going to move right along, and we're going to talk today about caregiving. Okay. All right. Um, I'm going to go really quickly and talk to you about caregiving. Okay. What is in honor of National Caregiving Appreciation Month? I bring this to you today. Okay. If you or if you are a caregiver or someone that is in love, is a caregiver, this is the time to stop and take some time out to show your appreciation. Caregivers, they work very, very hard, and they work sometimes really long hours, and they're not always given the love and appreciation that they deserve. And so, um, in light of this, we have November, uh, the whole month of November, to show our love and appreciation to the caregivers in our lives. Okay. And in fact, um, on Fridays, we have right here on CC's Kitchen channel, we have Testimonial Fridays at 3 o'clock. Um, if you have a caregiver that you want to show appreciation to, you want to, honor them, you can uh, talk to Miss Griffith or even talk to me and uh, let us know, and we can have you come on the show and you can publicly show your love to that favorite caregiver in your life. Uh, or if you are the caregiver and you want to show some love to other caregivers or even for yourself, you are welcome to come on to the show and um, to just talk to us about why do you caregive the way you do. Okay. And that would be really greatly appreciated. So uh, think about a caregiver or caregivers that you'd like to show some appreciation to, and let us know, and we can get them on the show and get you on the show, and you can discuss why um, this person has meant so much to you in your life. So uh, I wanted to just open up with that. Also, um, are there any caregivers on the line? Are there any caregivers? Um, if you are, just we'd like to shout you out. So just put your name in the chat. Um, if you um, have a caregiver that you'd like us to shout out, now's a good time to put their name right there in the chat. Uh, and we will pull out their name and give them a shout out right here on the show. Okay? And we're going to be doing that um, throughout the month of November. throughout this month. Okay, so um, now, what is a caregiver? What is a caregiver? A caregiver, as I is anyone that um, gives um, emotional, physical, um, emotional and physical support to another person. Um, and so a caregiver is one that gives care to another person. Um, a lot of times, um, that's a very broad definition of it. A lot of times we see caregivers and we all have benefited from caregivers and not really realized it, you know. Now, who are um, some of those people? Uh, okay, caregivers are your mom, your grandmothers. Uh, they the people who take care of children. Caregivers. That's one of the ways that they operate is that they take care of children, small children. You know, the child care provider is a caregiver. Okay, they care and support our little people. Okay, so child care providers, mothers, and the first caregiver in our lives that we encounter is our parents. Our parents are our first caregivers. Um, and they care for us. They very, very long hours and sometimes for, you know, most of our lives or at least a good portion of it until we're able to care for ourselves or we become caregivers ourselves. Okay, so our parents are our first caregivers. Um, a caregiver can be a family member as well. Um, like I said, sometimes it's grandma, or it might be auntie, or uncle, or grandpa. Okay, but caregivers are those people who take care of the people in the family. Sometimes the little people, the children. Sometimes the caregiver is assigned to uh, take to care for the our elders and our seniors in our families. Um, and so there's elder caregivers for elders, caregivers for children. There are caregivers for people who are injured or they might be, recovering from, an illness or surgery. Those caregivers, they are temporary. They're there to provide care for a certain period of time. So, for example, when a mother um, gives birth and she um, brings the little baby home and she might have had a C-section birth, so she really is not supposed to be up moving around a whole lot. Um, Sometimes the infant's grandmother or a relative will come and help care for the mom and as well as the baby. So that's a caregiver, and they are there for a short period of time. Um, After you have a baby, they tell you, especially if you had a C-section, they'll tell you you have to be off your feet for a certain amount of time, and that you can't lift anything heavy for a certain amount of time. And during that period, family members or friends will come and help out. So those family members and friends that come, those are uh, the caregivers, and they are there for only a short period of time or a set amount of time, and then they, go back home, and the mother is then, the parents are then, you know, taking full care of the baby and all of that kind of thing. So that's a temporary caregiver. Okay. So I identified caregivers of children, so child care provider, um, family members or friends that um, provide child care. Those are um, caregivers for children. Then I spoke about caregivers for our seniors and our aged um, loved ones and friends. Um, those you see them, those caregivers sometimes as a family member, sometimes as a friend, sometimes um, it's someone. It might be a home health aide where they are there to not only take care of the senior, but they also provide some medical assistance. So they make sure that the senior takes their medication. They may administer um, some medication or help um, the senior in various ways with physical therapy and things of that nature. So that's a home health aide. Home health aides, though, they are limited in what they can do with regards to the medical medication and stuff like that. They can administer some things. Some home health aides can do that, but others cannot. But they assist medical staff in doing that. So, like sometimes someone who has a home health aide. Home health aides are not only for seniors; they are for anyone that may need some help. They might be recovering from some kind of illness or uh, recently had surgery or something like that. So at any age. So home health aide would come and they they may do some cooking and some cleaning, run some errands even. But as far as medical help, they usually assist uh, medical staff that come in. So, like your visiting nurse might come in, administer your medication, check your vitals. If you have any machines in the house that you need to help you with any kind of ailment, the visiting nurse would come and uh, check those things and uh, administer the care that you need. But the home health aide would assist her um, or him, because they are male nurses as well, as they care for the person that um, is recovering from some illness, a senior that's recovering from some illness or is ill in some way, shape, or form. So that's home health aid. Um, and then um, they are um, elder doulas, elder doulas. They are doulas. Um, these are people that are um, trained to assist um, a senior. Um, there are doulas, what we call end of life doulas. I know it doesn't sound very, very nice. But yeah. and those are doulas that these are people who are trained to assist someone that's terminally ill, someone that may be at home um, in a hospice situation. You would have uh, uh, terminal or end of life doula present, and that person is trained to assist the client, patient, as they prepare to transition, uh, um, at the end of their life, or assist them as they are dying. That's called an end of life doula. Um, and the doula is basically a different term for coach, assistant, um, helper. The person administers care um, by assisting with that. Um, there are also birthing doulas where they help, um, when a mother is giving birth, they ensure that the child is, arrives safely. They are trained to deal with breech births and births with the cord around the baby's neck. So they administer care that way. Uh, so you have your doulas, both birth and end of life doulas. You also have um, elder care doulas, where the elder care doulas, they they pretty much are like a buddy to an elder. They come, um, they might go on errands, they might do a little cooking, but they most for the most part provide um, just human interaction. They're like a friend to that elder. The elder may live alone and not have family, in close proximity to them, and they need that kind of care. And so you would have a senior or elder doula come in, and that person would, laugh and talk with the senior, um, do some light cooking, um, remind them to take their medication, and just uh, provide um, mental and emotional support for that senior, so that that senior is not home alone, lonely, sad, that kind of thing. Um, so that's a senior doula or elder doula. Oh, these are, again, we're talking about different kinds of caregivers, um, and where we would see a caregiver um, and know that that's what they do. Um, Another type of caregiver is in the hospital with the nurse's aide and the assistant. They are caregivers. They assist the medical staff in the hospital while the patient is being um, uh, cared for. They assist. They might, prepare the patient um, for, they might do things like wash the patient down. Um, some may or may not, administer uh, different shots, and they come in, they make sure that if you have any questions while you're in the hospital, you need to talk to someone, a doctor or what have you. The nurse's aide assists with that. The nurse's aide um, cares for you while you're in the hospital, um, and they um, help you with your bathroom needs, things of that nature. So all of these are um, different um, professions, different types of caregivers, so that you would know uh, who the caregivers are. Okay, uh, and like I said, we experience caregiving all throughout our lives. So when we're born, there's a caregiver there to help um, make sure we come into this world correctly. Even before we're born, our parents are our first caregivers, our mothers, as we are in her womb. She is providing care 24/7, while we're on the inside of her womb, developing, with that. Um, so those are um, where you see caregiving. Those are different instances where you see caregiving and different types of caregiving. Um, um, and a caregiver, like I said, is basically someone that provides um, emotional, physical support um, to another person for the benefit of that other person. Okay, so that's caregiving. Okay, and we identify who those people are. Now there are uh, different types of caregivers um, in terms of you know the extent of their care. So you have private caregivers where they don't work for an agency. They work for themselves, and they provide. You can hire them, and they can provide care for your family member or friend or whomever needs the care from that kind of person. Um, Private caregivers, they are paid. Okay. Um, some of the caregivers in our lives uh, are not paid. That's usually a family member or close friend that provides care for us at various times in our lives. Um, but um, most of the other caregivers are paid. These caregiving is an occupation, it's a profession actually. And I named some of the different professions that fall under caregiving, and those people are paid. And some are paid very, very well, and some aren't. But needless to say, a private caregiver is one that uh, works by themselves. Um, they're not attached to an agency or anything like that. And they're independent contractors, so to speak, and they, charge a fee for their services. That's a private caregiver. Then you have the medical caregivers uh, who work for an agency. So you might have uh, a home health aide that works with an agency, and you contact that agency, and they let you know what the price is, and you let them know what you need, what services you need, and they will send someone to your home or wherever it is that you need the care, and that person would um, provide care for you. Now, so that's a medical um, caregiver, and also that's a caregiver that works for an agency, and they are you hire them, they take your case, but they work for an agency. Okay, so that's uh, private and those that work for the agency. Um, the private caregivers are usually independent caregivers. And what I mean by independent is because they work for themselves, so they have their uh, own set of rules, own kind of ways that they do things. They are independent. They don't have the backing of an agency. They don't have a supervisor. When you sign the contract, you're signing it with just that person because they are independent. Whereas with agency caregivers, um, you sign the contract with the agency, and the agency sends out a particular person or people to address the needs that your caregiving needs. Okay, um, because uh, those caregivers work for an agency, they are regulated also by the policies of that agency. So there are certain things that they can do, certain things that they can't do as per regulations uh, by that agency. So that's why when you sign a contract, you hire that agency, and that agency will then select someone to take your case. Okay, so that's private, independent, um, agency caregivers, uh, and then last but not least, um, there's the non-paid caregiver, the family friend or family member. They're usually not paid. They volunteer um, their time and their energy and to meet the needs of the person being cared for. So now, those are the different types of caregivers in terms of where you can find them. And very often, uh, the paid caregiver, their time is always limited and restricted. Okay. Um, Very seldom would you have a paid caregiver that lives with you or, you know, spends most of the day with you. Um, the paid professional caregivers, they have a schedule. Um, Chances are more than likely um, you or your loved one is not the only client that they have or patient that they have. So their time is limited. Whereas a volunteer caregiver, a family member, friend, those people donate their time. So they're usually around um, during the off hours, or they're around for a longer period of time than the paid caregivers. Okay, because the paid caregivers are on the clock. Simple as that. But the volunteer caregivers, they're not on any clock. Um, and so they're there, when no one else is there, or they're there, um, they regulate their time and they donate their time. So, um, so that's with caregiving. Now, everyone can't be a caregiver. There are certain uh, certain I don't want to say qualifications, but there are um, um, certain requirements, personality requirements that is needed to be a good caregiver. Okay, The best caregivers are people who are compassionate, uh, patient, giving, uh, and and um, energetic. Okay, so those are the best caregivers, meaning that those people who have all of those personality traits, they tend to uh, do their caregiving, and offer the best caregiving. Now, unfortunately, every caregiver does not have all of these qualities, but the best ones do. So, if you are in a situation where you would require the services of a, a paid caregiver, um, those are some of the attributes you need to look out for, so that you can better ensure that you get the best uh, care for your needs. Okay, especially if you're paying for it, you want to make sure the caregiver is, you know, compassionate, respectful, uh, energetic, a happy person, resourceful. Um, that way, regardless of what your needs are, that person can either meet the need directly, or they can, you know, get the help that you need. They can get it to you and provide it. Okay, so those are the personality traits of a caregiver. Um, and like I said, um, sometimes we have need of a paid caregiver, and then very often we have our first resource when we find out that we are in need of a caregiver. We look to certain family members. Those family members that that's what they do. They care for members of the family. When someone is sick, when someone is injured, when someone um, is just going through something, that family member or friend just comes and, you know, show that they care and assist, for whatever time period it is. They just like doing that. Or sometimes you can be in a situation where something happens to a family member and there are no um, caregivers readily available. And other family members simply have to step up and take on that role and provide the care. So caregiving, it can be uh, a choice where you choose to become the caregiver or you choose a caregiver, but a lot of times there are situations that arise where you need a caregiver immediately, and someone has to either jump in there and do it, or the family simply drafts someone and say, okay, you know, um, that's your father, and he's sick, and you're the only girl that he had, so you be the caregiver. You know, your brothers will help, but you be the primary caregiver. You know, um, that daughter may not have desired to do that or had plans to do that, but family kind of, you know, uh, let her know that this is what we'd like you to do. You know, point blank said. So, and hopefully she goes ahead and does it. Otherwise, the family member goes without care, and then someone has to hire a paid caregiver in those situations, or that family member just does without the care. And, you know, that's unfortunate, but it happens a lot more than we care to think. Okay, so that's what I have in terms of caregiving. Um, are there any questions, comments? Are there any caregivers out there that we want to shout out?
Okay. We have Miss Shanks said, salute all the caregivers. Remember to take care of yourself, especially when you are caring for a family. It can take a
Yes,
toll on your health. That's very important.
yes, yes. Um, yeah, I should mention, well, yeah. Um, I should mention if you are the caregiver, um, yes, it's important that you first take care of yourself so that you can provide adequate care for that family member, that loved one, that friend. Um, Very often, caregivers, um, especially volunteer caregivers, they are nurturing people. They will put others before they deal with themselves. And very often, you spend so much time and energy on caring for that other person because no one else wants to do it or no one else is available to do it. You start to neglect your own personal self care. And then if you continue to do that to yourself, the caregiver, winds up getting sick or wind up in the hospital, and you're unable to care for that family member or friend that so desperately needed the care. So yes, as a caregiver, um, uh, be sure to first take care of yourself because you can't take care of anyone um, if you're not well. So yes, thank you, Ms. Chang. That was a good point. Um, there's some things that you can do to ensure that you, as your own caregiver, and this is to all of us, um, there are things that you can do to make sure that you are in the best shape possible, so that you can be the best caregiver possible. So those of us that are moms, um, yes, moms are caregivers, and we're so into uh, caring for the family, caring for the children, that we neglect ourselves and then wonder why, we're sick or we're injured because we neglected to care for ourselves. We're so busy thinking about everyone else that we forget about ourselves. So, yes, caregivers, all caregivers need to have a self care plan first, okay, where you take the time out to take care of yourself, okay? Make sure that you're okay because if you're not fully okay, the quality of the caregiving that you administer to others is going to be not the best. Okay. So, caregivers, make sure you get your proper rest. That is important. Yes, we know that caregivers put in a lot of time caring for other people, but it's important that you get your rest. You won't have the energy or the strength that you need to care for others if you don't get your rest. Also, if you're caring for someone sick, if you don't get proper rest, you compromise your own immune system, making yourself susceptible to uh, disease, flu, colds, because you compromise your immune system by not getting the proper rest. So don't do that, especially in these days and times. You need your immune system to be as strong as possible to fend off um, any kind of virus and disease that would want to ravish your body. So please, 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 I can't stress it enough. Make sure you get your proper rest. Uh, a lot of times, caregivers, they're thinking about the other person. The other person, if they might be sick, they're already in bed. You're caring for them, and they are resting so that they can recover from whatever it is that's ailing them. Okay, so they're in bed or they're resting. They're not up jumping around and all of that. So just like they are resting so they can recover, you need to get your rest in as well. Um, so yes, get your rest in. Make sure that you eat properly. You have to, eat well so that you can have the proper vitamins and nutrients in your body so that you can have the proper energy and strength that it takes to care for others. Okay? Um, can't stress that enough. So get your sleep in, eat properly, uh, and um, I would say exercise, but a lot of times caregivers, they do a lot of physical work. So they kind of get their exercise in, depending on what kind of caregiving that they provide. But, to stay in shape so that, you're able to move and run around and keep your energy up. I would suggest that you get some exercise in so that your body can be as fit as you would like it to be so that you can, physically care for others in a more excellent way. Okay, so yes, get your sleep, make sure you eat well, and exercise. Those are things that you can do to make sure that you are in the best possible position to provide care for others. Okay. Uh, but thank you again, Ms. Chang, for that. Are there any other questions or comments?
Yes, there are more comments. Let me shout out people. Burns John Closet, Claude Chang, Miss
Yes.
Miss Lee, and Natalia Francois.
Yes. Hello. How are
Said,
you?
yes. Okay, let me get back to the comments. Vern says she will be doing an LS on this topic very soon. It's an awesome
Awesome.
topic. Yes, it is. It's an awesome topic indeed. Ms. Shine said Bishop Anderson's daughter is a paid caregiver at a daycare.
Yay. All right.
And Vern John
Thank you.
Closet
We
said,
appreciate you.
this is an awesome topic for all the parents of disabled children. Yes, it's an awesome topic.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Shout out to Miss Anderson.
And Ms. Lee said, piggyback on Ms. Chang comment, because you are so busy taking care of everyone else, you forget about taking care of yourself. That is so true.
Yes. So true. And we literally wear ourselves out
Yep.
caring for someone else. We're exhausted. We're not taking care of ourselves. We are busy, caring if the person is sick or if it's a child, you know, the child may want to run around and play. We can't even supervise them running around and playing because we're exhausted, you know. um, or if the person is sick, and we come there to care for them, and we are not feeling well or not looking well, and that doesn't encourage the person that's sick to recover very quickly. Okay, they're like, I don't know if I want you coming around talking just as much as I am, because in that we're not taking care of ourselves, we are sick, or not in the best physical shape to provide care for others. And people don't want, to be cared for by someone that's also ailing. So you're absolutely right. Thank you, Miss Lee. How are you? Thank you, Miss Lee, for that comment. Absolutely right. So true.
Yes. Miss Chan said recently I've seen commercials where family members can be paid to be taking care of caregivers. What are your options on this?
Yes. Certain caregiving agencies um, have created um, caregiving positions where um, the medical insurance um, of the patient would pay um, a family member or friend to administer to the caregiving needs of the patient. And that came about because they found that um, the wealthier families, they have adequate caregiving providers. The wealthier families, they they have the money, and they can just, if there's no family member that wants to try to do it, you know, they can pay someone to do it. They have that option. So their loved one uh, gets the care that they need. The you know, but in families where that are not wealthy, um, that are struggling financially, very often we have the situation where a family member needs care, but there's no one available in the family, or no one available to provide that care voluntarily, and the patient may not have adequate medical coverage that would afford them to hire someone. So then uh, also, people, when they are in need of a caregiver, um, particularly our seniors, they want a familiar face. They want someone that they can trust, because caregivers are people that require your trust. Okay, but not very often enough. Depending on how the patient gets along with the caregiver, they may not trust them. They may not even feel comfortable uh, with the caregiver. So yeah, uh, a lot of the agencies um, have um, and medical insurance um, companies have provided that means um, of paying a family member or friend, so to ensure that everyone that needs um, care, a caregiver, a paid caregiver, it can get that. Um, a lot of times when a family member or friend um, gets sick, it depletes the family income because um, whomever from the family that decides to step in as a caregiver, a lot of times that person is not able to work because they are providing so much care, around the clock care for the ailing loved one. So the 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 family income gets decreased um, in two different ways. First, some of the income goes towards paying for medication and providing, hiring someone to provide the care, and so that takes away from the family income. And then, if the person that uh, that needs the care, the patient, that person, if they were working before they got sick or got into the position where they needed the care, um, if they were working and because of whatever the ailment was, they are in a position where they can no longer work, um, or they have to be out of work for a certain amount of time. Depending on their job, if they didn't have, disability insurance or um, some kind of, you know, income coming in that would continue even while they were ailing, the family loses an income again. They lose the income of the person that's sick or that's ailing. They lose that income first, and then um, the patient doesn't even have the financial means to hire someone, and because that person is now, you know, financially um, inept. They can't financially pay for care. So um, the medical insurance and agencies like that um, came up with a way where care can still be provided, paid care can be provided, and the family uh, doesn't have to totally lose all of the income. Uh, they can, replace some of the income that's lost due to the fact that the family member became ill. So, yeah, and that also um, created um, more of an incentive to for people to want to be caregivers. Okay, and so that increased the number of caregivers available. So that was a good thing, and it's helped a lot of people. Uh, and so, yeah, thank you for raising that comment. So, if you are a family member that is providing care voluntarily for another family member or loved one, um, find out, um, call the patient's insurance company and find out if they have that available where you can get paid for providing uh, those caregiving services for that loved one. Also, a number of the uh, caregiving agencies provide training as well as job opportunities for people who are doing that, providing care um, for family and friends like that voluntarily. You can get training and a job doing that. You can even uh, get paid for providing care for your family member or loved one. Okay, so that option is available. There is a shortage of caregivers, and so uh, to offset that shortage and increase the number of caregivers available, that service, that opportunity has been provided. And especially nowadays, there's a lot of people that are ailing for different reasons. And so, yes, we need more caregivers. Okay. So, you might want to consider becoming a paid caregiver, as an option, particularly if you are already in that position. Okay. But yeah, thanks a lot for that comment. Yes. Are there any more comments?
Yeah, more, plenty more.
Oh,
Miss Lee said what you had said. I'm well, and she prayed that you are well and you look great. And
oh,
she
thank you.
and she said, piggyback on what you said. You better have patience.
Yes. Yes, you have to have patience in dealing with people in general, but you definitely have to have patience when you are caring for others. Um, it's 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 so much needed. Um, yeah, that's why as a caregiver, you have to get your rest, because if you don't get your rest, lack of sleep affects your whole mind, body, spirit. And so you won't be able to provide the proper care to others, because your mind, your body, your spirit is off. It's not in the best form or shape that it could be. So yeah, and lack of sleep does affect your mood tremendously. First of all, a lot of people are cranky and very low on patience due to simply not getting enough sleep. That is so true. Okay. So, if you don't want to be terse and sharp with those that you're providing care for, um, get your rest. Also, getting enough sleep ensures that you are alert and focused, so that you can pay attention to detail and really move in the way that you need to move to in order to provide care for the other person. So yeah, yeah, and a simple thing like just getting enough sleep allows you to be patient, with the person or persons that you have to provide care for. Okay. Um, and so, yeah, you need patience, and please get enough sleep so that you can continue, you can have a more pleasant disposition. You'll be a lot happier even as you provide care for those that you are caring for. Your energy is up, And you can help a lot of people simply by you know having a great disposition, your mood, being in a happy mood. um Caregivers that provide that happy mood, you know, um, that encourages the patient, and that uplifts the patient, and you know, providing that positive atmosphere and that positive attitude, that also helps the patient recover that much faster, better. That uh, inspires and motivates the patient to want to get better. But if you come in and you're the caregiver, and you come in and you're angry, and irritable, and sad, it makes the patient say, well, you know what? Why don't I just why don't I just give up? What am I trying to get better for? I mean, look at this person, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, you want to do what you can to make sure that you have the proper uh, disposition, be in the best mood to provide that care um, for those loved ones and those uh, people that you care about. Yeah. Any more comments?
Yes, they are. Burns John Claude.
Wow.
Yes, Burns John Claude said a good bedside manner and empathy. And then she said, I work with a nursing agency where we send caregivers to homes. Some were not trustworthy. Yes, some people are not trustworthy.
Yes. Yes. That is
Very.
so true.
Hmm.
And uh, thank you for all that you do um, in working with the nursing agency. Nurses are caregivers, so we salute you and all the other nurses out there. But yeah, good caregivers, they caregivers in general have to be trustworthy, because very often caregivers are providing care for people who can't care for themselves. So they depend on the caregiver to do all of those things that they can't do for themselves. And if the caregiver in and of himself or herself is not trustworthy, they they not only uh, uh, you know they not only violate the trust of the patient, but they do a disservice. They harm the patient when they prove themselves to not be trustworthy, and cause the patient to have to worry now. Oh, I got to put up all my valuables because the 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 visiting nurse is coming and she got sticky fingers. You know, I mean, if you what if you're a patient, the only thing that should be on your mind, at the forefront of your mind, is getting better. You shouldn't have to worry about, oh, let me safeguard my stuff. Oh my goodness. Let me let me make sure that I have everything in place so that I don't have to do a lot of talking with my caregiver, because my caregiver is she's mean or he's mean and talks to me any old kind of way. The patient should not have to be fearful even. Some, unfortunately, some caregiving providers, not only are they not trustworthy, but they are mean, and sometimes they even um, intimidate the patient and bully the patient. Um, and so the patient is there trying to receive care, but they are in fear of their caregivers. You know, and that's unfortunate, but it happens so much. If you are in a situation where you have a caregiver that is um, not doing their job, not providing the care that you need properly in any way, shape, or form, you have to report it. You have to report it. Talk to the family member that, arrange for, your care. Let them know. Let them know. Don't sit in silence about it. That is abuse. If you are a senior, particularly, and you have a caregiver that is mistreating you, they may be uh, stealing your stuff. They may be doing things without your permission. They may be bullying you. You have to report it. Talk to a family member, talk to a neighbor, call the police, call the agency that the um, the professional caregiver works with. You have to report it, okay? Otherwise, the mistreatment will persist and your health will diminish. And then you won't be in a position where you can do anything about it. So, yeah, um, thank you for that comment. Um, those are some things that you can do to, in case you have a caregiver that is not um, providing adequate care for you. Yes, um, report them, ask for a different one. You don't have to stay stuck with that particular caregiver. Um, if it's a family member and they are getting paid or even not getting paid, talk to someone that you trust and report them. Or, you know, have that person that you trust get it across to the rest of the family that that particular caregiver you no longer want that person providing care for you. Uh, and it's simple as that. Um, no, you want people around you that will provide the care that you need. You don't have to settle or for just anybody. You don't have to sit there and suffer in silence. Okay, so please uh, make the call. If you are a senior, you can call the elder abuse hotline. Okay, and report uh, the caregiver or anyone that is mistreating you in any kind of way. That is elder abuse. There is an elder abuse hotline that you can call to stop the abuse. Okay. Um, you can even call the police. The police are very, very, very uh, well aware and equipped to deal with elder abuse. Okay. Um, so you can call police. You can call the elder abuse hotline. Um, I well, if someone can look that up and put that in the chat, just in case, and or you can You can talk to someone that you trust to report it, and they can, you know, help you take action, stop the abuse, the elder abuse, okay? Or caregiving abuse, okay? Um, if you like, you can even call me, okay? My number is 718-576-8110, and I will advocate for you, um, and report to your family members, or make a call to elder abuse hotline, or the proper people that you need to connect to in order to um, alleviate any kind of mistreatment that is uh, being given to you by your caregiver, regardless of who they are. No one, no one, no one deserves to be mistreated in any kind of way. So, yeah, report it. But thanks so much for that comment. Are there any other comments?
Yes. Vern John Carter said, yes, you need time for yourself. He been there, done that. Um,
Yes,
and Miss Lee
right.
said,
Take time out for yourself if you're a caregiver. That's right. It's part of your self care.
and Miss Lee said, are you allowed to get paid for family members that don't live where you live?
Are you allowed to get paid for family members that what? What's the
That
last
don't
part?
that don't live where you live. I think she meant in
Um,
that same area.
if you are providing care for that person, that family member, where you go to where they are and provide that care, yes, you are allowed to get paid for that, because you're providing the care, regardless of where you live. You are providing the care. You come from wherever you live to be with them and provide the care. So yeah, you are allowed to get paid. Now, if it's a thing where you're getting paid to provide the care for that family member, but you are not physically there caring for them the way that you promised, that is illegal. That is called theft of services. And you can get reported, and um, you would have to deal with the authorities for that. So that is theft of services. That is illegal. Okay, to say that you are a healthcare provider. I mean a caregiving provider for a family member, and you're not really doing that. Okay, that is illegal. Okay, that is abuse of the family member. That family member still needs the care. Okay, and you are saying that you are providing those services, but you're not physically providing those services, and you're getting a paycheck. That is illegal. That is abuse. That is theft of services. You can be reported. So, if you know someone in the family that's doing that, that person can get reported. Okay, family member can report them. A friend, a neighbor can report them. Okay, because people see, you know, whether you're there or not. Okay, so one phone call to elder abuse, the elder abuse hotline, if the person that's being cared for is an elder, or If they're an adult, there is adult protective service hotline. Okay, uh, and the adult protective service, they provide protection um, for people who are disabled, adults that are disabled, um, uh, injured. Um, they don't have to be uh, uh, a senior. They don't have to be a senior. They can be anybody under age 60. Okay, and an adult. Okay, so between the ages of 18 and 59, if that's going on, you can call Adult Protective Services, and they will um, investigate and uh, deal legally with that person that is abusing the services, not providing the services, or theft of services, saying that they are providing those services and really are not. So yes, um, that is that you should not be doing that. The family can report it. Excuse me, a neighbor can report it. Yeah. Um, a doctor, the person's doctor can report it. Okay. If the patient goes in for a checkup and the doctor knows that this person has a caregiving provider, he looks or she looks for certain things. For example, uh, the patient is not taking their medicine properly. The doctor finds that they're not taking their medicine properly, you know, and that person has a caregiving provider. That doctor can report that caregiver, you know, because you know the the caregiver is not doing their job. If the patient comes in for a regular checkup and the patient um, has sores or ringworm on their skin, the doctor would look at that and know that that is neglect, that that patient is not getting the care services that uh, they were promised. They are being neglected, and the doctor can make that call. Doctors, medical staff are um, mandated reporters, and so they can make that call as well. They can call elder abuse. They can call adult protective services. They can call the police. So if you are um, the if you are the patient and you're not getting the services that you were promised, and that person, your caregiver, is getting paid for that, you can report to your doctor, and your doctor can make that call and stop the theft of services right there. Okay, so yeah, really, really nice comment. Really nice comment. And please uh, let your friends and family know they don't have to uh, continue to suffer uh, neglect, and that there are entities in place that will um, relieve neglect of care. Okay, if it continues, the neglect of care continues, that family member, that loved one can get very, very sick, sicker, or even die. So um, you don't want to let that kind of situation continue. Yes. Okay. Are there any other questions or comments?
Miss Lee said, even if they're out of state.
Even if they're out of state, um, and you're providing the care for that person, you would have to go to that person where they live and provide the services. And you would be, if you are the caregiver, you would be subject to the laws of that state that the patient is in. And again, that patient, the patient's family can report you, and let the authorities know that, yeah, you live out of state, and you promised that you was going to care for this person, and you're not caring for them. You know, um, and yes, you can be arrested for that. That is theft of services. It is best to um, select a caregiver that is that's local, or at least in your city. They live in your city so that they can get to you, and provide the care that you need in a timely fashion, and consistently. But if that person is a family member and they are living out of state, of course they won't be able to provide the care for that loved one as best as possible because they live out of state. So the family would then need to select another family member that is closer, or that family member that's out of state, they would have to consider moving, or you know at least making arrangements to physically be there to provide that care for that loved one. That's one of the requirements of providing the care. You have to physically be there. Okay. If you're not, then yes, you are getting paid, and you are committing theft of services. Um, and that's illegal. Okay. So, yeah, um, uh, that person or those persons, you know, the family needs to come up with a solution um, to have those caregiving services provided. If all of the family members are out of state, then those that agree to provide the care, they would have to make arrangements where they move in with the loved one temporarily, or they commute. But bottom line, they are supposed to physically be there and demonstrate that they are providing those care services. Okay, so yeah. Are there any other questions?
There are no more questions. I want to say something um, to piggyback on what Vern said. Those trustworthy and dishonest caregivers, they make it bad for the other caregivers who are honest and trustworthy.
It is so true.
Yes.
That is so true. Um, People make it very difficult um, for proper caregiving to be provided. And that's why a lot of caregivers, they quit because of the stress and the um, red tape, so to speak, um, that they have to go through just to provide care for someone else. It's unnecessary. you know um, Caregiving is very often a thankless job. You know, people who are caregivers, they are motivated by compassion and love. At least the best caregivers are. And so they are prepared to provide care for people who may not turn around and thank them at any point, you know. And that's why November is a National Caregiving Appreciation Month. That it was put in place to encourage caregivers, you know, so that they would want to continue to provide the best care as possible for those that they are caring for. It is designed to motivate caregivers to keep up the good work. It is designed to recruit and encourage more people to come forward and become caregivers. So, if you have a caregiver, if you are a caregiver, take time out to encourage a caregiver during this month. Take time out. Tell them thank you. Do something nice for them. Let them know that you appreciate them and the work that they do. Okay. Well, if that be all, I will prepare to sign off. Are there any more questions,
No more questions
comments?
at this time.
Okay. Okay. Well, I thank you all for tuning in and spending this Monday morning, now Monday afternoon with me, this first Monday in November, the, the uh, Caregiving Appreciation Month. Um, I'll encourage you all to show your caregivers uh, that are in your life, show them some love. Show them some love. Let them know that you appreciate them. If you are a caregiver, show yourself some love. Appreciate yourself, you know, so that you can continue on with the great work. Um, and if you are a caregiver and you'd like to come on the show, or if you know of a caregiver and you'd like to uh, show appreciation, or you want to shout them out and come on the show, just contact myself or Miss Griffith here, and we can have you come on the show on a Friday as part of our Testimonial Fridays at 3 o'clock. And you know, we'd be so glad to have you. So glad to have you. So just reach out to Ms. Griffith or myself, and we will give us your contact information, and we will get you on the show. You know, and have and show some love and appreciation. That person can get love and appreciation from the Aunt Cece's Kitchen Channel family. Uh, and so, once again, to all the caregivers out there, I salute you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all that you do. You have any closing comments, Miss Griffith?
Yes. I want to thank, like Deacon Love said, thanks to all the caregivers out there, and thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks for everyone who has tuned in this morning and for the following weeks that pass. And if you or yourself have any expertise, or you are a caregiver yourself, or anyone you know that's a caregiver, or you have anything to present, you can contact me at auntccskitchen@gmail.com, or my Instagram is Chardonnay, You can contact Miss Love, and she would give me the information. Once again, thanks everyone for tuning in. Um, Friday is Testimonies Fridays. If you want to be a part of this channel, again, you can contact me at auntccskitchen at gmail.com, or my Instagram is Chardonnay, or contact Miss Deacon Love, Dunamis Strong Mind at gmail.com. And she will report the information back to me. Miss Lee, Miss Floyd Chang, G. Burns, John Closet, Eve Hamazet, Itaya, Francois. And
Thank you so much.
those in the chat or who've been listening in the background, if you guys have any expertise, don't be afraid. Just reach out. I'm here to share, and I'm here to also give out the information. The information that you give is very important for those who can benefit from this information. So please reach out, guys. Please reach out. Please,
Yeah.
please reach out. Don't hide it to yourself. Share the information that you have. There's someone out there that can benefit from this information. So please, please reach out. I can't stress it enough. Don't hide the information to yourself. Reach out, and I will gladly and happy to have you on my panel to broadcast the information. Thank you guys so much. Have a
Yes.
great day and a blessed week ahead. And if you have that information, reach out to me at auntccskitchen at gmail.com, and my
Do it
Instagram
right now. Do it
starting
right now.
right now, yeah. Or contact Miss Deacon Love at dunamasongmind at gmail.com. And I can have you on this panel for this Friday coming. If
This
not,
Friday.
yes, if not this Friday, next Friday, or any information that you have, you can be on this panel Monday, Sunday, any days of the week. You let me know the time, the day, and the schedule, and I will be gladly and happy to have you on this panel. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Miss Deacon Love, for presenting. I can't stress it enough. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone in the chat
My
and those.
pleasure.
Have a
My
great
pleasure.
day and a blessed day to everyone. And a blessed week ahead. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye bye. Here.